you all are able to hear me. So there's a poll question on your screen and I want you to answer it. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yes, 50% cannot hear me. You check your audio, please, because the rest of the 50% can hear me. Those who cannot hear me, you'll have to check your audio. Yes, now 67% cannot hear and 33% can hear. Again, some fault with your audio, because here everything is perfect. And then the next question is, next poll question, I'll put on your screen. Can you see me? Please click on the answer so that I come to know whether you can hear me and whether you can see me. This question is on your screen and I want you to answer it, please. Can you see me? No one has voted. Probably you cannot see me. Check with your webcam. Some fault must be there with your webcam. Shweta Goyal has raised her hand. I'll unmute you, Shweta. You want to ask some question? Just type your question so that I can see it here. Probably by... Okay, so we proceed with our talk. Major cause for declining female sex ratio is female feticide and female infanticide. So as ultrasound came into picture, the female infanticide has decreased and female feticide figures have increased, but the declining female sex ratio has not stopped. So as techniques of feticide developed, reasons for infanticide became reasons of feticide. Let us now contemplate as to why the society does not want a female child, how these problems can be dealt with, and how do we save a female fetus and a female child. Dr. Kusum, I would like you to join here and throw some light on the reasons why the society does not want a female child, because the society does not want a female child for two reasons: societal factors and because lack of security for the females, lack of law and security system for the females here. I want you to throw some societal factors, please. Yes, Dr.
There are certain misnorms in the society. These are the reasons. There are certain reasons particularly prevailing in our society which are responsible for preferring male child over female child. And mainly it is the mindset. The mindset of the people is as such that only the male child can perform the last rituals. Only the male child can look after the parents in their old age. These are the major reasons. And also that they feel that if it is a male child, the child will get dowry with him when he is getting married. And if it is a female child, we'll have to collect a lot of money for her to give in that dowry. And also seeing the increasing number of crimes, they are also worried about the safety of the girl child. These are the few reasons which are prevailing very badly, prevailing in our society, in the mindset of the mainly women of our country. Unluckily, women of our country are more so.
Don't you think the reason for this is the societal norms? The females are made
Yeah,
to think so since childhood. The society plays a major role in that. Is it
yeah,
the
yeah.
fault of a female or is it the fault of the society?
Yeah, it is the fault of the society only. So in the society only, the mindset is as such that only the male child, if I have, I will be going, the last rituals will be performed very well. I'll be looked after in my old age, and all those advantages of male child are there. These are the misnomers. These are the misnomers which are prevailing very badly in the society. Right from the birth of a child, they are grown up in this atmosphere. They are grown up in that atmosphere. They see the brothers and sisters, they see that there is a difference while they are being brought up. The girl child is not given so much preference. The girl child is not given even that healthy food as much as the boy is given. The girl child given preference because they feel that she will go to some other's place, so we'll have to look after our boy more carefully. So these are the things that the child is growing up with, and when the child gets adult, even he or she thinks in the same way
Thank
that
you.
he
Thank
should get a male child.
Thank you, Dr. Kusum. I'll come back to you later. But now I would like to discuss, I would like to throw some light on the law and order situation in our country through some data. And then we discuss other factors. So in a study by Giriraj, he studied 42 families from Salem and reasons for female infanticide and feticide the given by the people, 42 people of the belonging to these 42 families. They said 100% believed that it was due to poverty and dowry. 76.19% said that it was because of they were concerned with the safety of the girl in this society. 83.33% said they were wanted a male child because he could carry the family lineage, and only 5%, 4.76% to be precise, of the respondents said that they were afraid of the laws enacted by the government. So just see that law has a very little effect on the mentality of the population, and they just want to get the feticide done. They are not bothered what the law says. Now look at this statistics. So this is the statistics from Delhi, our capital. So imagine what is the state of affairs in villages. Rape has increased. In 5 years, rape has increased four times. Molestation has increased 5 times. Eve teasing has increased 3 times. And kidnapping and abduction just doubled. So imagine the state of affairs in villages. Now let us come to some real life incidents, an incident which shook the whole of India, that is Nirbhaya's case. Just see the condition of that case. Let us now try to understand this one. The case so far at a fast track court, trial was over in 9 months, 8 months, and all the 5 convicts were sentenced to death. Then the case began in Delhi High Court and hearing was over in 6 months, and death penalty was confirmed for all the convicts. Then the case went to the Supreme Court, and first the convicts Mukesh and Pawan Gupta conviction was stayed, and then the conviction of Vinay and Akshay conviction was stayed, and a 2-judge bench says since the case involves death sentence, it needs to be heard by a 3-judge bench of the court and leaves the decision to its registry, and no hearing has been done thereafter. So this is the state of affairs in our country. How do you expect the parents to go to bear female children? Now, pay attention to these news clippings. National Crime Bureau records figures state that 8,233 dowry deaths were reported in 2012 from various states. The number of deaths under this category of crime against women were 8,612 in 2011. But the overall conviction rate was only 35.8%, slightly above the 32% conviction rate in the latest data for 2012. So this is the state of affairs. So how does the society change its mindset of bearing a female child? Then pregnant women allegedly hanged to death by in-laws and husband. This you can read one or the other day in the newspapers. To stop feticide, a trial to stop feticide was tried by PCPNDT enactment after the order from court, which was enacted in 1994 and it came into force in 1996. I have some data from a court case by Manmohan Sharma, and he has signed an affidavit with certain uh, points which I want to highlight here. He says that CSB was defunct during the period 2008 to 2011, even though the court directed the CSB to meet at least once in 6 months. It was reconstituted in 24/4/11 by notification of central government according to the affidavit of Union of India filed in this court in September 2011. Thereafter, it has apparently met 4 times, but it is unclear as to how effective the Apex Supervisory Board has been in view of the fact that it is now clear that the implementation of the Act in most states has come almost to a standstill. So not only doctors, they say the machinery is also not working properly. But where the machinery is working, what has it worked on? In Gujarat, 193 ultrasound machines were seized. 7 were for registration, 67 were for non-maintenance of records, advertisement about prenatal conception 5, and total ongoing cases were 79, and number of convictions only 4. So 193 cases, 79 still undecided, and 67 for non-maintenance of records. In Haryana, shows a higher figure of sex determination cases, 140 cases, 22 for sex determination, 18 for non-maintenance of records, 57 still undecided. And in Uttar Pradesh, no machine has been seized, 14 ultrasound registrations were not done, and communication of sex only 2 cases. Total number of cases running 9, 55, and number of convictions 0. Then he has also said that most of the ultrasound clinics, this is in Uttar Pradesh, that most of the ultrasound clinics are centered in small districts, making it unlikely that they will be covered during any monitoring process. The study also found that more than half of the professionals registered with the ultrasound centers possess no record concerning their qualifications. Untrained and uncertified persons were operating the ultrasound machines. The report also found that doctors were registered in multiple centers. A doctor in Ghaziabad registered at 12 centers, while another in Meerut was registered in 8 centers. The report concludes that such cases should be treated as suspects, as there are wider chances of an alternate person operating the ultrasound machine rather than the registered doctor. Then this is the data from Maharashtra of 2014, where 512 cases have been found and alleged for violation of law. But you can see out of the 512 cases, only 62 are for non-registration, and for sex determination cases which were caught by decoy operations, only 38, and 402 for non-maintenance of records. So what do we conclude from these figures? That among the first two lie the real culprits here. And so 7% of the cases are only due to are the real cases of sex determination which were used by decoy patients. That means 93% are just filed to complete target and are for documentation which is not solving our purpose. So now, Dr. Charu, I would like you to come in. Welcome, Dr. Charu.
Thank you, ma'am.
I would like to ask a few questions to clarify the status of law and how it is followed and what should be done. So, could you throw some light on the current form of PCPNDT Act and has it achieved its goal in improving the sex ratio? Dr. Charu.
No, I would like to say that as it was envisaged and it was visioned that it should bring it down quite significantly, that target has not yet been achieved.
Yes.
Though the sex ratio is gradually improving, there's a lot much to be done.
Yes.
Another aspect which has come into the picture, which we can see from a lot of statistics, that though the sex ratio is gradually rising, unfortunately the child sex ratio between 0 to 6, that means at birth the girls are being born gradually better, but between 0 to 6 the child sex ratio is showing a decline in the census between 2001 to 2011. I guess this reflects more of a social mentality, because if now girls are being born, then where are they going away?
So you mean
recent census?
Infanticide is continuing with feticide, and
yes.
Just targeting feticide, we will not be able to control the declining ratio, and we will have to concentrate on other factors, right?
It is care of the girl child even after birth.
So what do you say? If not fulfilling the objective, what has it achieved? Has it achieved anything?
What it has achieved is more of negative factors. Actually, it has caused a lot of constant anxiety amongst the qualified professionals who are trying to fulfill the requirements of the Act without doing any illegal activity. And they are definitely supporting the Act, most of the people. However, this they are very worried about the paperwork, because if they don't do the paperwork well, they can have a problem. The NGOs are also into the whole picture, that they are trying to achieve this final target, but the whole focus of the NGOs is toward the doctors and not toward the community. More needs to be done to sensitize community.
Doctors also in maintaining documentation, when that is not solving the purpose. The documents are being collected and stacked and stored. They are not being followed, and even if followed, they won't be able to, you won't be able to catch the culprit, because the culprit is bypassing all this. And it is adopting illegal methods. The machines are unregistered, and it is the doctors are unregistered. DIs are performing the MTPs, technicians are performing the ultrasound. So how do you catch these people? How do you catch the patients who are getting it done when your whole concentration is on documentation? Isn't it?
Because if yes, ma'am, because if the address of the people is being taken, there has to be some method of tracking these people in the ultrasound. I have never come across any such reports. Some of the people were tracked to see what was the outcome of the pregnancies in which the scans was done. So it's just that the paper is filled up, it's lying in one corner. If any error is found, then doctor is penalized.
So the documentation is just for documentation, no follow-up has been done, and all the cases till now show that there has been no conviction for sex determination cases. Rather, most of them are for documentation, and that is why the Act is failing in its achieving its goal, right?
Yes.
So which are the clauses which require alteration so that we succeed in getting some results?
Actually, section 23, which is dealing with the penalties and the offences, the absolute statement is that any person who contravenes any of the provisions of the Act is punishable with either imprisonment or a fine.
Yes.
There is no differentiation between anyone doing sex determination or clerical error. So this is a major, I guess, policy of this act, that it is being equating the sex determination with any paperwork deficiency.
What steps can be
So
taken, do you say, to reduce the problems faced by doctors due to PCP and DT Act?
Definitely, as we just talked, there has to be a differentiation between the exact crime of doing a sex determination versus simply having a mistake in the form filling, which does not mean that the person has done a sex determination. So either doctors will have to absolutely follow the act, which I guess is very difficult because paperwork.
But the object of the act is not for tracing and documenting the doctors. It is for bringing down the declining female sex ratio. If it does not serve the purpose, what is the use of the act? So
there can be some method, I feel, where they can have a system of trying to trace the people who are trying to demand sex determination.
Yes.
That means there should be some clause that the doctors or the authorities who are being approached by people demanding, there should be a method for informing this to the government, either through a helpline if people want to stay, that they can't be identified to be harassed later.
Why do you think there are no news reports of action being taken against common persons demanding sex determination? What prevents government from doing that?
Because actually doctors would make more news than the common public.
Do you
so in the media, because media will not be catching the common person who's trying to do a sex determination. Somehow automatically they have some sympathy with them. They feel that, okay, they are just a common person, they have social issues to take care of. It's the doctors who are doing this crime. But I always feel that if there's a demand, that is where there are certain unscrupulous elements who are maybe fulfilling it. May not be the doctors only, as you just mentioned. There are some machines which are not registered at all. The ones running them are not qualified professionals. So this kind of a tracking and a sting operation can be planned to catch hold of such people who are doing this crime in the society, along with those who are the potential demanders.
So you mean to say the focus should now shift from the law, following it by rule to the attaining the heart of, catching the heart of the rule, that
the root of the problem, that is the social demand.
You have to catch the culprits, that is the patient and the persons doing it. So the aim should shift to catching the real people involved in sex determination rather than catching people on documentation. So that can be done more effectively by decoy cases, by sting operations, rather than concentrating on documentation. Is it?
Because that will bring some fear into the mind of the people who are actually demanding it right now without worrying about getting caught. They have got the message till so many years, since past 15-20 years, that we are not at risk, because not a single case has come of any person who has demanded getting prosecuted by the law. Rather, it is always the news items being said, this center is sealed, this doctor is imprisoned, this action is being taken against this doctor. There is not a single statement that a particular relatives or any family has been taken action against. This message has to go very strongly, that the law is equal for both.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Charu. I'll come back to you. Dr. Kusum Singhal, I would like to ask a few questions to you now. What steps do you think government should take to improve the sex ratio, female sex ratio, and decrease female feticide, apart from law? Dr. Kusum Singhal.
The method of execution. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Government should definitely change the method of execution of the law. Like government should focus at 3 sectors. Not only the government, not only the doctors, but it should focus at 3 places, like the abortion seekers. The first and the most important is abortion seekers and their relatives who support them for getting the sex determination done, as well as for getting the termination done if it is a female child. And the second sector is the mediator. The mediators are doing a big role in achieving this.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
They just catch hold of these abortion seekers and they take them to a particular place, particular center where this crime is being done. So these mediators are also supposed to be caught. And the third is the centers who are performing sex determination or the termination. So in this preference, in this sequence, the government should focus. For catching hold of the first two groups, government can always take the help of prominent doctors from the society. They can always help and join the hands with government, and they can help in doing sting operations. Sting operations can always be performed by the government so that the actual culprits are being caught, and the doctors can prove a major help, a major right hand of the government doctors can prove, and both the doctors and the government together can achieve this goal. And then administration can always make a helpline giving some number, common number, propagate the number, and anyone from the public or anyone can inform on this helpline whether the crime is going to be done at some particular place without revealing the identity, because people are afraid of revealing the identity. Because of that, they don't inform. So if the helpline number is there and the identity is kept secret, people can always call and inform beforehand that sex determination is going to be done at particular center or termination is going to be done at particular center. And third is administration should propagate the law, because propagation, the propaganda through the media is only against doctors. In the present circumstances, the public feels that only the doctor is the criminal, but the propagation of law should be proper, that even the abortion seekers, the relatives and all those who are helping them achieving this determination, all those are going to be the culprit and not only the ones who are who are performing the act. So all the three are equally accused and equally culprit. So if this message is conveyed very well in the society will fear, society will not opt for it because of the law. So the propagation, the right propaganda is the need of the hour.
And
That's what I think.
And this will also help in reducing the punishment of doctors for a societal fault.
Yes, yes, of course.
And do you, as is said, that awards and punishment are two ways for making full compliance and success of any task. Do you think these
Yes.
strategies can help here, and if so, how?
Yeah, of course. Of course. In implementation, proper implementation of any law or any strategy, these are two very important tools, awards and punishments. In this particular case, awards can be given at two sectors. One, to those informers who inform the government officials beforehand that either the SD or SD related MTP is going to be done at such and such place. Those informers should be given award, and award should also be given to those doctors who not only refuse the procedure but also take some time out to counsel the patient and convince her to change the mindset. The doctors, these type of doctors should also be awarded so that the enthusiasm prevails in the rest of the community, that if you are doing some good, somebody is there to appreciate you, somebody is there to recognize you. So
I think that if we could save a few females from this societal fault, and that will be the biggest reward we could get. And if we could stop
Yes,
this declining female sex ratio, there would be no
Yes,
one
yes.
more happier than us and no better reward for us,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, of course, you are right, Dr.
And
Archana.
and targeting us,
Punishment.
targeting doctors, the negativity we are facing just now for no fault of ours, if this stops,
Yes.
I think that will be the best reward.
Because this is the reason why the law has not achieved its goal, because the very tool they are using is target the doctor. So
Yes.
this is the wrong track they have caught. That's why the target is not being achieved. If they target the right people, then the goals will be achieved, if not very fast, but the goals will be achieved slowly. They will be constantly we
at
will
least
achieve
some progress will be seen.
yeah, and then the punishment also should be given equally to all the three sectors: the abortion seekers, their helpers, the mediators, and the abortion providers, sex determination providers. The punishment should be in all the sectors, and the fear should prevail in all the sectors and not only the providers,
So
so that the
the
demand is less. So that the demand is less, the demand will not come. If the demand will not come, automatically the market will shut. So even if
okay.
some few doctors are providing, if there is no demand, who will give? Who will provide? So the demand should be shut
Thank you,
by,
Doctor. Thank you, Dr. Kusum.
yes,
So up till
thank you.
now, the main stress was on implementation of the Act in its present state, and a lot of revenue and resources were and are still being used for it from national to district level. But the result is negligible and the decline continues. Why? Because the demand for feticide was not attacked. The direction of law was not to attack the demand for feticide, but just as infanticide changed to feticide,
स्क्रीन
desperate
का फोटो
parents
ले लो,
discovered
स्क्रीन का फोटो ले लो.
ways to get feticide done, because patients without resources approached unregistered places of dyes, quacks, pharmacists with unregistered machines and unlawful abortion facilities, and feticide continued, while time and resources were being wasted in documentation. So the practice of feticide continued courtesy dyes, quacks, pharmacists, and unregistered machines. And while the ethical doctors were busy filling up the forms and following the documentation which was being checked, and the market was running in full bloom. Then came this portable device. This portable device is being used by unqualified and night squads for the clients who request for sex determination. And this was the story of poor, and for the rich, blood tests at 8 weeks are now available in countries like US and other. Most of the world, sex selection is legal, because at 8 weeks here, for some certain sex linked disorders, blood tests are done to determine the sex of the fetus, and diagnosis, pre-gestational diagnosis of potential expansion of IVF can be used for sex selection. And this is promoting fertility tourism from UK, Australia, Canada, India, China to US for sex selection. This is a study which shows it. And as the doctors are being caught here, the revenue is shifting there, because the rich patients go there and come back with a male heir for their property. So situation is illegal abortions increasing maternal mortality rate and morbidity on one hand, and doctors are thinking of stopping doing obstetric ultrasound altogether for the harassment, leading to regressive policies which will further increase the maternal mortality rate. Don't you think we now need to change our policy? Shouldn't we now finish the demand of feticide to do away with the market of feticide? How do we do that? How do we kill the market of feticide instead of attacking doing what we had been doing till now? Because law and its implementation has brought no improvement in falling sex ratio. National to district level, CSB to AA, the machinery is working in full swing. Documentation and records are being maintained by doctors, which are of no use because none has been followed. When the percentage of sex determination, when the culprits of sex determination who have been caught by law and its implementation is only 7%. And there are many pending court cases for years with loss of employment to doctors, and their families are suffering. So here you are saving a fetus, and their doctors are suffering and their families are suffering because of loss of employment on the because documentations were not complete, and sex determination cases have not been caught. Only 7% have been caught. So terror and dissatisfaction among doctors has increased, and this is the most important sector for a strong nation, and all this is further complicating the healthcare system in our country. So now, shouldn't we shift our attention to the societal reforms so that the government brings in schemes that a girl child is valued, the society values a girl child and longs for a girl child, and this pyramid of revering a girl child grows so strong as the pyramid of Egypt, that this pyramid of documentation and law enforcement for documentation perishes. Because when the market will perish, there won't be any need for feticide. So what should we now concentrate? What should the government now concentrate on? It should build up helplines by service clubs, so that if certain patients who request for feticide are caught by the doctors or by the government machinery, they can be referred to service clubs, and the people can go there and counsel them for not going through with feticide, and also helping them in their misery. Government should ensure education, employment for females, and bring in freedom in their personal lives. Societal norms should be instituted so that girls are allowed property inheritance. They should not be asked to change their names after marriage. Dowry should be abolished, and strict laws should be implemented in dowry cases, and the cases should be decided fast, and girls should be allowed to light the fire of their parents and in-laws. Schemes of rehabilitation of widows, rape victims, and acid attack victims should be stressed on, and schemes for empowerment of women and strict laws for conviction of culprits of dowry, rape, molestation, and acid attacks should be enforced. What would all these things bring about? When these schemes will be implemented, child will be safe in the society, and people will long to have a girl child, and the era of Saraswati, Lakshmi and Durga will come back with women empowerment, with women employment and women education. So Saraswati, Lakshmi and Durga will be back in our society if these schemes are instituted instead of documentation and law enforcement. So isn't it that this is a better method to tackle the problem? And for those who after these schemes also continue to get feticide, to request for feticide and do feticide, those patients and those people, maybe dyes, quacks or qualified, they should be caught, and by sting operations, by decoy operations, and punished. The government, media, judiciary, and society should draw and believe in such norms so that the female child is welcomed, celebrated, protected, and revered, and a female fetus is welcomed and not aborted. So the society should be such that they are not afraid that if they give birth to this female fetus, the state of affairs in coming years of the fetus would be this. And if this fear is withdrawn, then I don't think so any family would be willing to part with a female fetus. And when the market would be abolished, no doctor would be performing feticide. I'm proud to say that in our UP, recently Mr. Navneet Sekera ji, an IG police, who was here in Moradabad, he has instituted women power line in UP in Lucknow, and he stressed on the Sashактикаран evam Beti Bachao Padhao Yojana, and he said that women should be empowered, and he also said that the most common reason for महिला पीड़ित इसलिए होती हैं क्योंकि उन पर अत्याचार हो रहा है, तो कहीं ना कहीं पुरुष वर्ग दोषी है और जिम्मेदार है. Such a learned person saying that it means that the society has to be changed, and then only we can control feticide, otherwise the thing will go on. And here are some excerpts of a child whose parent was put to jail for documentational errors, and the girl writes, "These people are killing our live daughters on the pretext of saving the girl child. For the record, ma'am, the letter has been sent by a doctor who is himself father of 2 daughters, and his sister also has 1 daughter. And the daughter writes, faith is to her mother, she writes, faith is the only way to success, mom. Failures do come to make us even more capable. I know I am too small to understand the pressure you and dad are facing, but I want to support my parents by whatever I can do. It's just not crying in front of you both so that you feel your kids, your strength. I cannot see my parents shattering, nor they will tell me their, believe me, it's not just I'm trying to be orator. All these words are from my heart. No shattering, mom. Keep a hope ignited in your mind, and you are such a strong woman. You can't shatter now. It's time for both of you to be each other's support." So on documentational errors, doctors are falling out of employment and their families are suffering. Here's a cute and brave child of Dr. Shashank Khanna. Dr. Shashank Khanna has written a very nice poem on women empowerment, and his daughter recites it for us. बहुत बढ़िया बेटा, very good. This is my daughter, and I have written 2 blogs for Revere the Girl Child. One is a poem. This is my blog, Revere the Girl Child. And the second is change the mindset of the society to save the girl child. This is my second blog. Change the mindset of the society to save the girl child. So latest news on the issue. Here's an ad in the newspaper, and here it's written, private detective agencies for sting operations against doctor performing sex determination. It would have been so nice if it would have been that sting operation against doctors and patients requesting for sex determination, so that in the society also a terror is there that whoever wants sex determination, he'll also be caught. The other good news is from Rajasthan, where the court had directed the health minister there to form a 3-member committee which would investigate the cases where doctors had been the doctors' machines had been sealed and they had been convicted by court for not wearing apron, for not filling Form F, and court had directed to form a 3-member committee which would look into the matter and report back to the court, and the DM has signed this and asked for its execution. And this is an ad which the doctors have created requesting that we also want to save the girl child. We, the ethical doctors, are very much with the society to save the girl child. Please give us a chance. Don't suspect us. Don't allegate us for a societal fault, and don't punish us for a societal fault. A few poll questions for the audience who have logged in today, and I want you to answer these poll questions. The first poll question is on your screen. I want you to answer it. How successful do you think the PCPNDT law has been? 100%? Not at all? Yes. More than 50%? Yes, but less than 50%? Not sure. You can give more than 2 answers also. So 50% think not at all, 50% think yes, but less than 50%. So it needs to be worked on. The second question is, who do you feel is responsible for the declining female sex ratio? Doctors, society, both, none of the above? I want you to vote, please. It is on your screen. So 33% say it is society and 67% say both. But in this both, the ethical doctors are not there. It is not always the doctors which are performing the empty feticide. It is also the dyes, also the non-medical quacks who are doing it. This we need to understand. The third question is, what steps can be taken by the administration to improve the sex ratio? A constant vigilance and sting operations, strict implementation as mentioned above, awareness campaigns, fast track courts to decide cases. 100% say awareness campaigns, and I agree. Law will never help us in achieving, because terror and negativity never gets results. It's only awareness, counseling, and a safe and secure atmosphere for girls which will help us in attaining our target. I agree with the audience. Yes, 80% awareness campaign. Fourth question, what interventions can help the girl child to be gladly accepted in society? What interventions? Social education awareness, girl empowerment, better security, improving literacy, standard of living, involvement of religious leaders. 100% say all of the above. I don't agree to this last point. Religious leaders, I don't know. Maybe. Yes, girl empowerment will definitely help. Then we come to the last question. What is the approach of NGOs in PCPNDT Act? Creating social awareness about this problem, really working for improving sex ratio, biased against medical professionals, obtaining funding from government. Yes, I want your answers, please, on this one. What is the role of NGOs? So 50% say it's creating social awareness about this, and 50% say biased against medical professionals. 67% say they are creating social awareness. And this can be utilized very well instead of in counseling the patients, in catching the parents who request for feticide. The doctors can report their numbers and address to such societies. They can give a number where such cases can be reported, and their representative can go and demotivate them from getting feticide done. This can help a lot, I think. So we come to the end of our seminar. Thank you all who logged in. I enjoyed the session. Dr. Kusum and Dr. Charu, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, both of you. I am highly obliged for sparing your time. I am obliged to you, the panelists, and the loggers, delegates who logged in for the session. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am.